Eternal Song is the overall beginning video. There are 11 videos, 11 documentaries about Indigenous populations and their experience being told by them in their own words. And that's the Eternal Song. So for the moment, two videos have been released, two documentary videos. One of them is the Eternal Song. The other was If an All Calls Your Name. And at the end of January, there's a third one, and there'll be one coming out a month for the whole year. And each one focuses on a particular in the United States, in Canada, in Brazil, in Australia, in New Zealand. I'm missing two because they kind of went all around the world. So that's the sand context. So we have Dermot who's joined us, Tivo who's hiding, and Earth who at some point will have to show his face. Okay.
Well, let me jump in here now and just introduce Kathleen, although I'm sure so many of you know her already. I have had the honor and the great pleasure of working with her now for quite a few years, really since Creative Minds. And for me, it's been a transformative journey. So it's with great pleasure that I introduce Kathleen. Who, as you probably know, is an intercultural facilitator and coach who has more than 3 decades of experience under her belt. She's helped individuals and organizations to learn, transform, and connect across intercultural boundaries. Thus, I do believe her work embraces the 5 practices of generative citizen by deepening and expanding empathy and communication skills, which are essential for building inclusive, resilient communities. So it's a really great pleasure, Kathleen, to welcome you to this event. And it's over to you to just say how it's going to unfold. So looking forward to it with great excitement. Lots of love and thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to say a few words about why I wanted to share this, and then we're going to jump in. Because I came towards Generative Citizen. I'm a member of SAND, and this film came out. I think it's a really important film to watch. But there's so many ways to watch it. There's a lot of what you're going to see, which is kind of in the realm of awe and mystic, and you could kind of like float off into it or be like that. And then the moments where they really talk about the trauma of these indigenous populations. And, sometimes people, when others are talking about trauma, they don't hear it, they don't see it, or we're going to have intellectual discussions about it. And one of the things that we preach and don't always practice is how important it is to take it in through the head and the heart and the gut and the pelvis and the roots. And so what I wanted to have is a very structured practice of let's start with the nonverbal. Let's start with the sound, with the movement, with the breath. So I'm not inviting you to have a discussion about this documentary. I'm inviting you to experience it. So, I think I should say that I'm going to talk about some practices that I'm going to ask for volunteers. I have a wonderful expression for volunteers or volunteers. So if no one volunteers, I'll tell someone to jump in. And then we're all going to do it. And we're going to look at our screen and see what's happening in the different squares on the screen. So we're going to practice that. And then we're going to start looking at it. Okay, so share my screen. I hope, oh yeah, there are people who speak Spanish. I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. Okay, so you see my screen. So, so for generative citizens, we're going to take this journey into the eternal song. If you just look at who the executive producers are, Pat McCabe, who's someone who spent generations working not only with Indigenous people in the United States, but she's done a lot of work with Indigenous people in Europe, and particularly about what happened to women when they were burning the witches and how that was eliminating genocide of a Indigenous population. Bayo Akamolafe, who is someone who is doing this very um, interesting shift of how do we talk about non-Western civilizations in non-Western ways. And he talks about cracks and the importance of cracks. So just looking at these names of who the executive producers are, there's a feeling of something that comes from the heart, from the gut of non-Western people. So our path of practice is going to be, how can we learn head, heart, gut, pelvis, root? We're going to be practicing for ease with yourself, for confidence with others, and finding your style for this moment. And my objective, and I will spill the beans already, what I would really like to do is to continue this practice over several sessions, is that we can practice it in such a way that I can start to share it with people who are on the path, so people in generative citizens, but also that we can start practicing it with other people, practicing with others, people who don't know and who go, so what? Not just preaching to the choir. So that is my intention, to learn, to practice, and to share. So our practice is going to be individual, collective, and intergenerational. So if we start looking at this, we're going to specifically doing coach, crash, and croach, which many of you know. And if you don't, you'll just jump in. We're going to be looking at the dance of emotions. I will guide you through it. I'm sure it's something that you've practiced with other names. And all of this is going to be linked with and calling up the generative citizens 5 practices. I would like to say immediately that Judith is not responsible for anything that I'm saying and that I'm totally responsible for it all. And she can say yes or no. It applies a little, a lot, halfway to her practices. But for me, my intention is linking with my understanding of that. Okay, so we're going to go into coach, crash, and croach. So this is me in my coach state, back against a tree, a redwood tree. This is the crash and the croach. And in my croach, there's something about how do you hold it, just holding it. And you see my little peacock eyes, just holding. So I'm going to invite you. This is my coach state. This is what it looks like. And I'd like a volunteer so I can share the screen.
Okay, it's Marina here. Hi, nice to meet you. What are we volunteering for?
Just to show your coach state.
My coach state, meaning what
That you're
state?
centered, that you're centered, that you're open, that you're welcoming.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
You ready?
All right. So show us, it's something about just being, how you centered and connected? How do you show that?
Do you want me to answer that or just do it?
I want you to do it.
Okay, great.
Mhm. Okay. And now we're just gonna go to everybody on the screen. Gallery view. Can we go to gallery view and see everybody? So look at centered. Everybody show your centered self. Peter just disappeared. Show your centered self. It's nice to look in the screen. Okay, yes. And notice what centered looks like. You know, it can look, you know, there's how Dermot is centered. There's Mark Chambers, who's centered in his books. Christy, just look at it and feel it. Hello, Renee. So I say to be centered is an individual practice and it's a collective practice. And as we're going to be going through the video, it'll be nice to be looking out the room and seeing when is everyone centered. So without going back to the PowerPoint, the next one we're going to show is crash. Crash is kind of like when you don't feel in it, like things are not going well. Or you've been reading the news and it doesn't suit your politics. So what's your crash? Let's see your crash. What's your crash look like? Yeah. I mean, the crash generally doesn't come with smiling, though some people have a crash smile, which is everything's okay. Everything's okay. All right, it's a crash state. And, you know, in a binary world, we would say you're either coach or crash. But there's something about, there is a crash state when, you know, when you've just seen a genocide. You can't say, oh, I've seen the genocide, I'm going to go back to my coach state. So there's something which is called the croach, which is I'm centered, but I admit that there's upsetness. In the two images I showed you of croach, one of them was these mystical guardians. It was a picture from the Louvre of Assyrian guardians who are person, lion, and a winged angel. So sometimes croaches, I go to another dimension and something protects me. So there's something about croach where it can be really reaching out. And then sometimes croach, in the other image I had of croach, there was a person who was sitting and was holding a flame. And it's like sometimes when you go through mourning someone you love who's died, and you feel sad and you feel lonely and you feel hurt, but you also feel that, yeah, I feel this one really strong because my companion died of cancer, and I'm really pleased because there was no way to live like that. But I also have this feeling of I still miss him. So there's a croach if I hold it. I don't try and change, I don't try and move it to something else. So there's a croach. So your croach, is it more I hold it? Or is your croach more kind of like go to a greater, higher dimension? I go for my spirit, my guardians. And it's really important to know because as we're going to be going through and looking at and hearing some of the stories of Indigenous people, one of the big issues has been people tell these horrible stories of genocide and people go, pass the salt, please. There's no connection. There's no feeling. They're cut off from their humanity. But you're cut off from humanity because it hurts. So how do we hold the hurt? Hmm. So, okay. So I'd like everybody to shake it off. Blah, 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 just shake it off, shake it off, shake it off. I think it was Peter Levine who said that was one of the things that's most amazing. Most mammals, after they've gone through something uncomfortable, they shake it off. The mammal who doesn't was human beings. So we're going to connect with all kinds of spirits and animals and dogs and cats and shake it off. Okay. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. So we've gone through coach, crash. This, I said one way of coach is to appeal to the mystical, or just to sit and hold it. And then there's another practice, which is called the dance of the emotions. Okay. And this is a dancing statue. And I'm just going to invite you to try it out. All right. So what I'd like you to do is we're going to choose two emotions just to practice, because this idea of dance of the emotions is practicing. I can be in my center, and then I can choose to step into an emotion. So right now I see my PowerPoint, and I can see also the gallery. And so what I'd like us to do is we're going to do anger. And who feels like being a volunteer to show their anger? Ta-da-ba-dum. Christy. Okay. You're muted. Okay, Christy. Just show it.
Do you want me to stand up?
Well, however you want to, you can, if you want to stand up. All right. So, yeah, there it is. You see the nonverbal there? It's got a lot of movement in it. Okay. Yeah. And now I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. When I say 3, you're going to step back into center. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to go 3, 2, 1 and step back into anger. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, back to center. Thank you. It comes from a Tantra Buddhist practice, dance of the emotion, where you just go into each emotion. And it's a way to practice. I can step in and I can step out.
Yeah.
How did it feel?
Yeah, I think it's a great exercise to do, to go into the emotion and then come back to your center. And
yeah. So we're going to go to full gallery.
thank you.
Full gallery. And just like I just did with her, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and I'd like everybody to show their anger. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3, 2, 1, centered. Okay, and now we're going to do happy. 1, 2, 3, happy. 3, 2, 1, centered. There. And as we do it, it's nice to look and see how different people do it differently. The next one is going to be overwhelmed. So 1, 2, 3, overwhelmed. One, two, three, centered. So I just like to invite everybody to open their mics and say all at one in cacophony, how did that feel to dance it?
Fun.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Enlivening.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good.
Great to do it as a group.
Playful.
Playful.
Okay. So thank you for the practice. All right, so partager. So we've done our dance. Oh. Okay, and now, so as I said, our path of practice is we're going to learn head, heart, gut, pelvis, root. We're going to be practicing for ease and confidence and having our own style with an objective where we're going to share. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to watch the film in segments of about 5 to 7 minutes. And when I say stop, I'm going to just ask you, what's the sound? What sound? No words, just what's the sound that comes to you? And then I just want you to note it, observe it for yourself. And then I'm going to ask you what gesture, and then maybe what movement. And each time I'm going to say, just note, observe what's happening. When we've watched several segments, then we'll share. And we're going to have a time at the end where I'm going to put you into small groups. I'm going to ask you to practice what's our movement, which means everybody shares their sound, their gesture, their movement, and you're going to make some sort of a collage that you'll share. Okay? So, sand. Please be advised that the following film contains images and audio of deceased persons and stories of sexual abuse. That's why you've just practiced.
Make this a large screen, please.
Yeah, hold on just a minute.
We were co-creators. We moved with the creation energy. We have been on the earth many, many times. Until someone said, here, this is the place. And we all see this is in the middle of an ocean. With our breath, we blow on the ocean. And the land comes from beneath. We go onto the land and we take the stones and we crush it in our hands and we throw it into the wind. And the plants begin to grow. And we take our fingers and we put it in the stone and we make a line, and the rivers begin to flow. We are so busy making and creating a perfect place in the middle of nowhere until someone said, I love this place. I want to live here. But someone else said, you cannot do this. To live here, you must be of flesh and bone. And he said, I don't mind to be flesh and bone. And then we awoke.
Yaputayo ne, yaputayo, requesta sui.
We see a place of lights and darkness and colors, and slowly coming into the flesh and the bones, we notice that we are moving. A part of our vision opens and we see that we are on the ocean. And so we put our hands in the water and we feel the water for the first time. It is so warm. And we look ahead of us and we see a light. It almost saying to us, come to the light. I breathed the air for the first time and I cried.
So, what sound comes out of you after experiencing this? Just open the screens, open your mics. What sound comes out of you? Mics, open your mics, open your mics. Everybody open your mics all at the same time. What sound?
Ooh.
And what gesture's there? What gesture comes up as you've just experienced 5 minutes? What gesture? What gesture comes up? What gesture? And note for yourself what gesture comes up. And then look at the other squares on your screen. you can toggle and look at the others and look at the other gestures. Look at the other gestures. Julian, you raised your hand.
Accident. It's
Okay.
AI raised my hand. No.
Okay. And I'd just like everybody to come back. What's the sound that comes out of you? What's the sound? Just the sound.
Oh.
Wow.
Maybe gibberish, maybe man.
Yeah.
And note your sound and note the sounds of the others. So everybody do their sounds again. Oh, oh. Okay. And I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to just write down, just note for yourself. What do you experience in terms of sounds and words? Just what was there? You might write some words, you might do a quick drawing, but just a way to say, yeah, I experienced. So for myself, what I noted was the animality of the sound. That's what struck me. Okay. We're gonna dive more in. So we've had this first experience of the storytelling of the Hawaiian shaman. Brazil.
Quando Deus fez a terra, o sol, a lua, aí não tinha quem admirava do trabalho de Nhanderuguaçu, nosso grande Deus, né? Então mandou o Guarani Kaiowá, deu o nome para nós de Iwipotã. Então nosso nome é Flores da Terra, admirador da obra de Deus. Até um poeta Kaiowá sempre falava que a água vive no corpo da gente, vapora no ar, se transformando em nuvem de amor. Para cair a chuva, brotar os brotos e desabrochar as flores. Então, a gente é natureza. Então, somos natureza.
You see a plant. The plant sees you, recognizes you. Know that you are family. When you see a rock, this rock has been there before humans. They have seen us grow here on Earth, evolve into what we are today.
I am the land, and the land is me. We are the land. The percent is what we call the whenua, the land. You come from that placenta, and then you will come onto the land, and you'll be taught on that land, and you will die on that land, and you will return to that land.
Creator, Holy Mother Earth, holy people all around, it's me, Ruyakpa Najinwi, and I'm coming before you on this holy day, Petukile, reaching out to you, reaching out to my ancestors, reaching out to the ancestors to come. And I ask that you be the ones to speak here, show us the truth, show us what real love is, and may all of the stories serve to show us the way forward. And reaching out to the ancestors to come, I just ask you to call out to us and to sing to us, because we're headed your way, walking that beautiful beauty way, pathway, and let this storytelling be a part of that. So, me takwiasan for all my relations.
Growing up on our territory, it was freedom. Our chiefs and our elders have always said that you must know the land like you know the back of your hand. If something is happening on the land, you should be able to feel it on your skin, on your body. We are a matriarchal society. Without mothers, we wouldn't exist. We call this planet Mother Earth. That should tell you something.
The land to us is not something different from us. The land is me, the land is us, and we are the land. From the time immemorial, we've lived with wildlife. We've accommodated them in our cultural system, in our clan system. Each and every clan has wildlife because we are brothers and sisters.
This is the last one.
Our landscape told our stories. We would see the mountain ranges, we would see the rivers, we would see the trees that hold it all together. In Australia, we call them song lines, and they would help us navigate across the landscape. So if you know your songs, then you know your country. And if you know your country, you're never lost.
Everything has a story. Everything, every behavior, every tree, every bird, every plant, every animal. And all of those stories are around love, care, respect, humility, compassion, and an obligation to share.
All right. So, what sound is there? What sound is there? Open your mics. Open your mics. What sound is there?
Whoa.
Ooh.
Hey.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Mm. What movement? What gesture? What movement? What gesture? Mm-hmm. So, Timala, I'm going to give some instructions and then we're going to put people in rooms of 3 or 4 breakout rooms. And in your breakout room, what I want you to do is just to share what are the sounds that you have. We just went through several different cultures in different lands. And just to what sounds come up for you. And so the instruction is each of you are just going to have a time to share. These are the sounds that came up for me, and listen to the sounds of the others. What are the gestures that came up for me, and what are the gestures that came up for the others? And then to see how that, over the course of 3 minutes, how that becomes your group's sound movement. So you're going to have 3 minutes. Share your sounds, the sounds that come out of you, that resonate in you, and then the movements, and then watch each other and let it merge into something. And at the end of 3 minutes, you'll be back here. Is there a group that'd like to share with everybody what their movement was? Okay, so
Yeah, Georgianne.
Yeah, I wanted throughout from the beginning. I wanted to howl, and I thought I couldn't. I mean, here I am in the middle of London in the flats, and I thought I couldn't make that noise, but
You did it
did.
beautifully. Let's do it.
And so I was, I felt inhibited before, but anyway, now I'm howling at the moon.
Dermot's group wanted to share as well, I think, or at least Dermot did.
We had a
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah. Something like that.
okay. Is there another group? Okay. So we're gonna go back to the movie. And just before we jump back in the movie, I'd like you to just notice what are the feelings that you're having right now? Sadness, awe, happy, overwhelmed, anger, fear. Just tune in to your body. And just whatever that feeling is, let it express itself. Whatever that feeling is. Mine is awe, as the awe. And then exhale and come back to center. And we're going to watch another segment.
Let's start with the view from the shore.
We hear it now.
Okay.
We were watching aliens come out of the blue. Native people, they had so much experience with the ocean, with the water and consciousness, that the ocean would tell them that there was another way, a different way coming. The way it's told in the books is these ships arrive, and what do they describe that they see? Everything is flowering.
Make it full screen.
Flourishing. Game is plentiful. Water is sparkling. They even describe it as, they've come upon Eden.
The sound is off now.
The Western world, something happened over there where the Inquisition happened. They were drawn away from the earth. And the witches and the warlocks were all gotten rid of. The witches only means the wise ones of the forest.
Can you hear?
Yeah, we're hearing the sound. It's perfect now.
We can hear, it's perfect.
Okay.
These witch hunts went on for hundreds of years in Europe. And what that tells me is that's how they knew what to do.
who was sent out on those ships. You know, they used to make the children watch the tortures, beatings, the drownings, everything. And so that they would know in their bones, you know, they branded that trauma into those children. They were the ones who were on the boats.
And at that time where mourning was outlawed, and if you can't mourn the dead, then what do you do with the energy? You hold it within and you don't know how to grieve anymore. That came over here in the ships.
The people who were living here were understanding themselves as being beauty, and the people who were coming from Europe were understanding themselves as being in sin.
They tried to say that we didn't exist, that we didn't have beliefs, we didn't know how to govern ourselves, we didn't know how to look out for ourselves. You know, when they have the doctrine of discovery, that we didn't exist until they laid eyes on us.
When the truth of the matter was, there were millions of human beings occupying this continent. Civilizations had risen and fallen here.
What the invading culture that, you know, landed here in these vessels of infestation so long ago, when they came here, they needed to disconnect people to the landscape. And so how do you do that? You break down their culture.
Remove you from the land, remove you from the culture, take you from the land, put you on reserves. And when you remove the people from the connection to the land, you're taking away the heart and soul of the people.
So the world outside came to us and smothered the people of this place. So as the days went on, we lost more and more and more and more and more until we even lost ourselves.
Começaram a criar fronteira, mas nós éramos um povo que não conhecia a fronteira. O homem branco que veio de fora, o pensamento é destruir. Trai tudo, mata, água, rio. A montanha tem que caber no bolso dele. Por quê? Tem que virar dinheiro e caber no bolso.
Money was not our economic source of wealth and growth. It was the ability to have a relationship with our land and our sky and our sea, and we lost that.
Just now, take a moment. Check into your body, check into your heart, check into your gut. What are you feeling? What is there? What sound comes up? What sound is there? What movement? Open your mic, share the sound. What sound is there? What is there?
Oh.
Brrrr. 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 And what movement? What movement?
Oh.
And just for yourself, name what emotion is there. Don't change it. Don't move it. What's there? Brief.
Yes.
And now we're going to step back into center. Maybe into croach. And continue.
Primeiros a chegarem, a pisarem em território indígena foram os homens colonizadores. Então, eles trouxeram a violência doméstica, eles trouxeram o regime deles patriarcal, opressor, eles trouxeram o capitalismo, né? Então, tudo que eles trouxeram dizimaram nossos povos, dizimaram os nossos ancestrais.
We were taken to a concentration camp in the southern part of New Mexico, which is about a 400-mile walk. Very, very cruel walk. You know, there's stories of pregnant women who couldn't walk, were shot and left by the side of the road. Initially, the plan was out and out, you know, murder. You know, like every single one of us was to be exterminated. You know, and that's what they say about the whole continent, right? That 9 out of 10 of the inhabitants were exterminated.
My great-grandmother were survivors of some of these massacres that happened. So they were holding on to these stories, and it was so difficult for them to tell because they were like 4 or 5 years old, and then watching the whole population of their communities wiped out in a day or two. So there's stories about mothers sticking their children into hollow logs to protect them, you know, from the troopers who were coming through on horseback and annihilating a whole population. And then those children then have to grow from there. And to deal with that, like, how are you going to have to process that and then keep that story?
What sound is there? What sound? Share your sounds. Share the movement. What's the movement? And invitation number 1, we're going to go into groups of 3 and share your sounds, share your movements. You have 3 minutes. And then we're going to give you another 3 minutes to do your dance of emotion. What feelings are there? So you're going to have 6 minutes. First 3 minutes, hey, share your sound, share your movement. And what's your collective sound as it moves, melds, muis together? So I've asked the groups to share either their sound and movement or their dance of emotions, whichever they like.
I'll share the dance of emotions.
Yes, Marta.
This is my dance.
Lovely.
That was
Totally.
it.
Did you see some of us giving it back to you?
Well, in my group, people said that they had laptops on their laps, so we did just a handstand.
Okay. You can hand dance.
Yeah.
Okay. Another group.
Raise your hand.
So, what group was Paul Anthony in?
Just spotlight.
That was the
Yes.
group with me.
Can you do this? Yeah, that was the group.
That was the group with you. Okay. How about Christy? What group are you in?
And Anya.
I was with Judith and Anya.
So you want to share a sound movement or a dance of emotions?
And then we'll do the gesture.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Adrian, Christina, Gloria, and Wendy, you're on.
I think we did the dance of emotions.
Yeah.
We danced, we stood up and we danced the whatever the anger.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. All right, Blondine, Mark, and Thibaut.
Dance of emotion too.
Thank you. And the last group is Beatrice, Jenny, and Julian. Sound and movement or dance of the emotions?
Oh. 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 Oh.
Oh.
Oh.
So I would like to thank everybody coming to experience this movie in a different way. Not going through words and our opinion but taking it into our head, our heart, our gut, our pelvis, our root. And I hope that inside of you, something from this film, as they would say, has been born. So with that, I hand over to Wendy and Maggie, who are our Generative Citizens host. And I thank especially Vimala, who has been the techie support. Thank you very much.
Wow.
Wow, well, what I would like to do is to thank you, Kathleen, for showing us. Well, I've never experienced anything quite like it. That's my own personal feeling. And yet, I've been really moved. And I think everybody that is here has been really moved on a different level. This is part of perhaps the 4 sessions that Kathleen really wants to run. And it was just a little vignette really into watching the rest of the film and experiencing it in a very different way. And maybe it would be nice if we could show how many of you would be interested that have done this process by either raising your hands or a yes or so that we will go forward to, work on a 4 session using the film. And Kathleen has offered to give very generously of her time. I think that is a huge, overawing and inspiring thing to offer us all. So
I have a vested interest.
we all have a vested interest. And I think that it is, it's phenomenal. So thank you. Maybe you would all like to join in with each of, just maybe a word from everybody about how this is leaving you, and some appreciation of Kathleen's
Some appreciation of
expertise.
but also saying where, hey, this was a stretch, or I'm not in my comfort zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different way of experiencing the film. Yeah. Moving.
Touched, and I feel connected. I like the way this has connected us. Sad, grief, connected with you, which is helpful, and touched.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Fantastic, Adrian. Fantastic.
Deeply rooted.
Adrian is
Deeply
sharing
rooted.
something. Yeah.
Deeply
You're
rooted.
moved and open.
Yeah.
Or experiencing and less thinking.
Is Adrian showing a painting?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Thank you, Adrian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll take a picture of that.
Yeah. Light and dark and many colors.
Powerful. Well, thank you. Thank you, Adrian.
So, wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you,
think for
Kathleen.
me, I went into this having seen most of the movie, and the fear that I feel was managed well. I can't thank you enough for that. To be able to step back, step out of it, because it was so much of fear, and then stepping back, then touching it and then coming back was brilliant. Thank you, Kathleen.
Yes, I too liked Christy doing her demonstration. And as she did it, I think we all did it, to being able to step in and back and in and back. It helped me through sometimes a very harrowing
Um,
look at what I have to say we've done.
Yeah, I feel the same way as that, actually. I'm really angry about what people do to other people, and that is still going on now. And what, so I'm looking at Julian, I can't help but go, what's the positive intention? And we were talking about, well, Hitler had a positive intention. They did, but it's still horrendous. But I did like the Kathleen, isn't it?
Yeah.
The thing about centering yourself, getting into the emotions, that's helpful for me and my clients. Thank you.
Yeah, I
That's
noticed.
and that's also the advantage of coach, as opposed to saying we have to be in coach. We're not going to be, oh, la, la, oh yes, they've completed this fine, very nice, pass the salt. No.
Yes.
No, I think it's so important, because I think it's like so many people just dissociate,
Yeah.
and go off and do fun things, or entertainment, distraction. I think being able to hold it with a warm, generous heart and not run away from it and not get lost in it, just so important to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I wanted
Kathleen,
to add.
I noticed that that exact thing that Julian said. When this stuff got intense, I wanted to leave. I wanted to stop. I wanted for it to stop. I wanted to go all the way to crash. And your prompts gave me a different way of coming back to myself without having to speak, without having to think. It rerouted me to expression, and it became more bearable. So thank you.
Kathleen,
I would like to add to what Julian was saying.
Yeah, Tivo's
Sorry.
been trying to speak, so let's take Tivo.
Sorry.
Kathleen, I really want to appreciate your lived experience and how it shapes this offering. For me, the deeper invitation to Croach as a lived experience, because the offering of Coach Crash as a polarity, or as, right, there's something that touched my lived experience of racism, oppression, classism, trauma, in the way you, from your lived experience, hold this space and this context and this offering. So I just wanted to really deeply, wholeheartedly appreciate Croach.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Gloria.
Sorry, I just wanted to add to what Julian was saying, that with Kathleen, I've learned not to dissociate, because it's just so heavy and so sad, those kind of things that I just get very easily into my mind, and not being able to go into my mind, but just connecting with the body makes dissociation very hard. And also the feeling, it's more bearable and more easy to hold. So thank you, Kathleen. I keep learning from you. Thank you.
I think this discussion is phenomenal. It's not something we've done as much of before, but I think it really needs to be included in the 4 sessions at the end of each of them. We've shared an intense experience, and I think it's important for us to be able to see where we're at.
Yeah.
And the Croach is very much there.
And it's great to have the solidarity in this, isn't it? The sort of feeling of solidarity in this space.
Yeah.
Is helpful.
Wow. That's the sound I would make for this session. Wow.
Yes. Wow.
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 Wow, wow, wow.
Wow.
Triple wow.
Well, I really hope that well, you need 6 weeks. So end of February, we go on a 4-month journey, because it's, as I said, the path is about practice. How can we practice it enough individually, collectively, and we practice it enough that we have ease? We even practice it enough amongst ourselves that we can go out and practice with people who go, what was that? I mean, and that's my my intention, my vested interest, is that more and more of us practice being able to hold this history of colonialism, racism, classism, patriarchy. And I really appreciate in this series when they talk about the people who came on the boat had been tortured, and the warlords and the witches who'd been burned, and they were suffering people coming over. It's we're not talking about a binary world where there are good people and bad people. We're talking about people often sharing what they've gone through, and they share their trauma. And unfortunately, it's not in the past. We continue to share our trauma.
Thank you.
So I hope to play, practice, dance with you again.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you for your
Thanks,
beautiful
Kathleen.
holding of this.
Wonderful.
Bye.
Thank you.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you.
Till we meet again.
Thank
you. Thank you very much.
I'm going to be knocking on Mark's door.
Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you.